Hello, this is Nilangan from Salespanel. You might know me as Neil. Joining me today is Florian, who is the marketing lead at Container Exchange. So, Florian, let us start by having you introduce Container Exchange.
Hey Neil, thanks for having me. Container Exchange is a B2B SaaS solution.
Okay.
We are working with container owners and users and help them gain transparency, increase their flexibility through putting them in touch with each other on our online platform.
Okay.
We've launched 4 years ago now and grown to more than 500 customers. We've got a team of 90 people sitting in Hamburg, Germany, and I'm more than happy to talk to you today.
Yeah, thank you. So, your customers are worldwide, I'm guessing?
Yes, exactly. Our customers are worldwide with a focus on the Indian subcontinent, Middle East,
Oh,
Southeast Asia.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting. So, your product, as I understand, is a SaaS product, and your customers are shipping companies across the world, even in like continents like in the Asian region. So, which means, if I'm not wrong, like they're very traditional brick and mortar businesses, and that's as old school as it gets. Like these companies, this type of companies, I guess, would not be very fond of change. Like they would have their old traditional systems. So how did you guys convince them to get on board on a SaaS product like Container Exchange?
Good question. Yeah, some people, when they talk about logistics, they say that's the unsexiest industry.
Okay.
I can understand that, but I also disagree because there are so many things going on. There are so many different players involved that it's just super complex, and that's the
Okay.
challenge we're tackling to make these back end processes, everything that happens when you move cargo from A to B.
Okay.
What happens in the back end, we digitize and make it a little bit easier for our customers. And obviously, when I'm talking to people in the industry in the beginning, there's always people who say, okay, we've always done it this way for 25 years or for longer
Yeah.
probably. We don't need a solution like that. We know everything about it already. But then there's also like first adapters, people who are more interested in new technologies, new ways of doing things. But then it's not about coming up with new technology. It's really about delivering value.
Yeah.
And as soon as people understand that you can actually help them, it's a no-brainer for most of them.
Yeah, so it kind of looks like an uphill task. So, but you guys are doing great, as I can see. Like during my research, I found that your company has grown very rapidly in the last few years. Like we will not talk about revenue or numbers or anything, but even just if I look at your company, the average employee count of most SaaS companies are very low. Like maybe 100 at max or 50. Even big companies have like less than 50 employees, SaaS companies, but I see that your team size has been growing steadily in the last 2 years. In fact, I see that your team size has grown like almost 2x in the last 12 months, and this was during the pandemic. So,
Yeah.
like while other companies are downsizing, how are you growing so fast? And I also see that you have recently taken this role specifically during this period. So, what are you doing exactly?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, first of all, it's also quite impressive for me that we have scaled this from 30 people in the beginning of the year to now close to 100. Everything like during a pandemic,
Yeah.
and I think here we talk about two different things. First of all, I think we have reached product market fit
Okay.
early this year, end of last year, where people like doesn't really matter at which scale people see value in exchange. They use exchange frequently and they benefit a lot from it.
Okay.
And then especially during the pandemic in container logistics, with lockdowns,
Yeah.
um, yeah like I mean it started in China in the beginning of the year, and then it moved over to Europe, then it was the US, now it's Europe again, and so on. So people needed or still need transparency. They need to be flexible when it comes to having having an option like a plan B in mind. They need
Yeah.
to come up with workarounds. And we provide that transparency. We help people find new partners. We make this not only easy but also safe for them. So yeah, even people that were a little bit resistant in the beginning tend to increase their usage of technology now because they're simply forced to come up with new ways of doing business, especially now during the pandemic.
Yeah. So, has the pandemic brought an opportunity for you to get more people that are actually good for your business, like employees, because like many companies are downsizing, as I was saying, and even like big companies have downsized. So, has this brought an opportunity for you to grow more and hire the right people?
Definitely, it's an advantage as a business if you are still growing at that rapid speed during a
Yeah.
pandemic, and that obviously has attracted A players to the team.
Yeah.
Um, yes, definitely.
Yeah, so yes, I've also been following things, and I would say that the bigger companies, the blue chips and everyone, they are just they have a bigger problem. Like small companies, they have this is an opportunity for them, I think, and your company and you guys have shown that this can work in your advantage actually. Like people think that the small companies will be the ones that would be suffering the most, but I think this is opportunity for growing companies, and looking at your numbers, this is definitely confirmation, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, these times ask for new solutions. You have
Yeah.
to come up with like innovative approaches, maybe change a thing or two.
Yeah.
If you are, I don't like that word, but if you're agile enough, and
Yeah.
if you like deliver value, obviously you benefit. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, even before the pandemic, you guys were like growing for the last few years, very rapidly. And as a marketing lead, like I would love to hear your growth strategy, and I think our audience would love that as well. So, what is it that you do in such a niche industry like logistics and containers? It's not like I could understand if you were something like a messaging platform or something, but this like very high niche and high value custom with high value big ticket customers. Like how are you, what are your primary marketing strategies?
Yeah, yeah. Good question. Obviously, I think about that every single day.
Okay.
But we have split up our marketing and sales approach into inbound and outbound.
Yeah.
Inbound is accounts for around about 30% of new customers, and outbound for 70%.
Okay.
Um, for outbound, this is not only cold calling people around the world,
Okay.
but as the marketing team, we support our sales team with, we have actually a research team at xChange to
Yeah.
find all the contact information of people we want to target, and then we run highly customized and targeted email outreach cadences.
Okay.
Um, where we send them specific offers, introduce them to the company, and so on. That kind of prepares our cold calls, our sales guys,
Okay.
makes their life a little bit easier. And then on the other side, I think this is what we should focus on the most. The inbound marketing part is we have built up a content machine, I'd say, over the last 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
We get lots of traffic from SEO. Like everybody says SEO is dead. It becomes more difficult every single year.
Yeah.
But we still grow a lot using SEO because, especially in our industry, people use Google. People, they find their solutions if they have problems on Google, and this is where xChange comes in.
Okay.
And then my last point, without focusing on one specific marketing channel, what we are trying to achieve is we're building a community. I believe that especially B2B, SaaS, and traditional industries does not work that you place an ad and someone clicks on that ad and then buys your product.
Yeah.
We always want to be there, and we want to be in people's mind, especially when that problems appear, when that
Okay.
problem appears,
Okay.
and then they reach out to us. So we put a lot of focus on PR, on social media, on telling our stories, and that,
Yeah.
yeah, works out
Okay.
well.
Okay. So for outbound, you kind of have like an account-based marketing strategy. Is that correct?
Yes, you could call it account-based marketing, but we are talking about um, 1,500 companies per week
Okay.
that we are reaching out to.
Okay.
Um, yeah, we're still targeting these small and medium-sized businesses all around the world.
Okay.
Um, exactly, yeah.
So, do you face any problems when scaling this outbound approach, like problems like reaching to people, or like if you do email campaigns, then and delivery issues or anything, something like that?
Delivery issues, that's okay. If I think about our funnel, starting at the top with list building, for instance,
Okay.
that's always the first challenge, to make sure that there's enough like companies in the beginning,
Okay.
and then finding contact details, and so on, would be the next step. And then finding, like, the last step would be obviously email templates, but I'm more thinking about the right email outreach tool, because it can become quite difficult if you have a growing sales organization. In the
Yeah.
beginning, we were five sales colleagues, and that was relatively easy to add contacts to their account and adjust email templates, run A/B tests, and so on.
Yeah.
But now with 25, 30 salespeople, you cannot log into every single account all the time and like optimize smaller things.
Okay.
Yeah, right now, maybe people in your audience, they know a right tool for that. Right now, we're looking for an outreach platform that, yeah, simplifies our processes. Currently, we use Clenty, which is a really cool tool.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, there's a few operational challenges that we would like to solve in the coming weeks and months.
Okay. Okay. So and inbound, you were saying that you are doing mostly PR and like reaching to a broad audience, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Um. So you started working for Container Exchange in around 2015. Sorry. Container Exchange was founded in 2015, and you joined in 2018. Is that right?
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
I think I joined in 2018, but the company officially start like the official founding date is 2017, because
Okay.
before then our two co-founders were still consultants at the Boston Consulting Group,
Okay.
and Exchange was more of a side project. They came across this problem of repositioning empty containers.
Okay.
They have built an Excel model to kind of, yeah, match supply and demand, and then slowly turned this into, yeah, a proper company that started with the foundation in 2017.
Okay. So you took over as a sorry, you started as a marketing manager, and then you took over as marketing lead, right?
Yes, in the beginning, when I joined Exchange, there was no marketing at all. In the
Okay.
beginning, it was just, yeah, I think 8 people or so building the product, talking to a few people to sell it, and then I was the first marketing hire at Exchange. But back then, when they hired me for operations development, or
Okay.
something like that, which turned out to become marketing pretty soon. But back then, yeah, there was
Okay.
no
So
marketing manager position. Yeah.
okay. So and then you created your team and slowly turned your role into the lead of the marketing operations, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's like we always see this, like this has been talked about a lot. I think like product companies, they start first, like their first priority is building the products. Like sometimes the marketing aspect is not thought about at first, but clearly with you, they I think the team has uh, got their jackpot, because since you joined, I can see that your growth has been like really good.
I also like to see it like you just mentioned that,
Yeah,
but definitely it was a really good time so far, and we have ambitious growth plans for the coming years. So I'm
yeah.
excited where this will lead us to. Yeah.
Yeah, so, we talked about this a little before that the pandemic brought you some opportunities to grow and like bring good people on the board. Like, were there any negative effects because of this that you had to handle? Like companies that your customers closing down or temporarily shutting down?
Not so much, to be honest.
Okay,
In the beginning, very early this year, it took everyone a few weeks to kind of yeah, understand the situation and like get back to normal.
okay,
But after like for a few weeks, it was like you described that it was difficult and everybody like was not so sure about the coming weeks and months. But then after honestly after 2 or 3 weeks or so, things turned out super positive for us because people yeah, they needed and still need transparency. They still need to run their businesses.
yeah,
Um, and this is where we come in place. We help them find containers, we help them reposition containers, we help them gain transparency and kind of organize everything that's related to everything that you have to do, such as payment handling, container insurance
yeah.
that's related to a
Okay.
container move. And all these things had to continue, and that's obviously like perfect for us.
Yeah, and I think like we are almost at the end of the pandemic, or at least I would like to think that, because the vaccine news is like really optimistic for me.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
for us, if obviously working from home was a challenge in the beginning, or that's at least a change.
okay.
I think the teams have adapted perfectly to it, but it's also something that you have to learn initially, and you have to get used to it. Not sitting together in the same office and talking
Yeah.
about things, coming up with ideas. But yeah, I think like for every other business, I mean, we're so fortunate that we can work from home, but it also took us a few weeks to get used to that, I'd say.
So, you before the pandemic, did you speak with your customers from like on the internet, or like was there any face-to-face meeting before the deal or something?
Yes, we try to visit most of our most of the regions we deal with, such as China, India,
Yeah.
Dubai, Middle East, at least once or twice per year to meet up with most people face to face. But other than that, we have also attended a few conferences, but we rely heavily on Zoom and all these digital calling video tools to talk to people that are interested in exchange.
Yeah, so yeah, I also don't think that this process of meeting people and going to expos and everything is going to go away, because like there's a special kind of bonding when you meet people face to face instead of Zoom. Don't you agree?
Yeah, meeting people face to face obviously always wins, and it's easier to set up like build that relationship with
Yeah,
people if you've met them at least once. But let's see how long that will be the
yeah. I
how long
think
that will be the
yeah.
new normal. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the next few years are going to be fun for you guys, and like as you expand and also things are starting to open up. So we'll see what you guys do.
Yeah, I hope the next years will be fun for us. Also having you guys as a partner.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
really excited
We
about it.
would
Yeah.
love to be around. So, since you mentioned like we would like to come to sales panel now, so what made you sign up for sales panel? Like, what were you looking for?
Yeah. A few points.
Okay,
um, First of all, attribution is always a topic somehow.
okay,
What we understood is that we can track so many things kind of outside of our CRM system and within our CRM system.
Okay.
But connecting the data between Pipedrive in our case and what's happening on our website, for instance, was super difficult.
Okay.
And we were thinking that first of all, it has an impact on sales performance. What websites people visit even after having a demo, for instance. So
Yeah.
that's really important for us to see yeah, what catches their interest, so to say,
Yeah.
even when they're already an opportunity in Pipedrive.
Okay.
That's one thing. Then attribution and like benefiting from the yeah, added data. That's definitely the second point. And the third point would be that I'm always interested in giving our sales guys as much data and insights as possible. And now when we hand over a lead and the sales team knows already, hey, they have visited the following 5 websites, they might be interested in container insurance, or yeah, they have read an article about us in some magazine, and that's why
Yeah.
they yeah, why they submitted their email address. That's obviously yeah, quite helpful for the SDRs, especially to prepare their phone calls. Yeah.
Yeah. So we also work on this like tracking. We think like tracking is really important, especially what people do before they sign up, or like before they initiate a conversation, and what they do after that. And there are like several channels, like live chat, there is live chat, there's emails, there's phone calls, and everything. So we want to make the tracking seamless as possible. Like for instance, we recently made an update to our tracking code, and now you can instantly capture leads from any form or any pop-up or any live chat like intercom or anything, without even using any integration or configuring anything. Like it just works out of the box. So we are working towards this, so we can provide you this information. And since you rely heavily on outbound and sales intelligence using sales team, so we want to bring the information to you, so your sales team knows exactly what the people who are visiting your website are doing. Like we recently brought another update, that is events. So you can know if somebody is viewing a particular video, like how much time they have viewed it, or if they are doing some clicking any buttons or doing any something specific, and you can track that, and you can use it on your segments or qualified leads or anything. Like you can also push this information to your sales team, so they know exactly like if somebody has viewed a webinar for like 20 minutes and how much time they've spent, everything. Your sales team will also know that.
Yeah, and what I want to highlight here is that yeah, you have all these nice features, and it makes so much sense, and I can definitely recommend using Salespanel.
Okay.
But what I would highlight is that like we have been using an exit intent pop up called Hello Bar.
Okay.
And in the beginning, when we had our free trial, Salespanel was not able to capture lead information from that pop up.
Okay.
But then I think it took you guys 1 or 2 weeks to figure that out, like build that feature and yeah, publish it. Now everything works properly, and I really, yeah, really appreciate the speed and how much yeah, how much yeah, you listen to your customers, and it's yeah, really impressive.
Yeah, thank you for that. So yes, we do like to work with our customers closely, and the feature that you actually suggested was like pretty interesting for us, and it kind of ties into like what I just said right now. So because of your suggestion, I think it was helpful for us to bring this fundamental, that we want tracking to be as seamless as possible. Like CRMs, they would like try to do everything, and so they would provide you their own forms or own
Yeah.
live chat platform or pop-ups or anything. But most of the times, like you might have some different requirements. I actually made a blog post around it, you can check out if you would like to. I would provide you the link after the call. So
Okay.
yes, definitely. So I would also like to thank you for suggesting this. So because of you, I guess it helped us bring this feature a bit faster with more clarity.
Perfect. It sounds really good. You're welcome.
Okay, so now you were talking about the trial. So there is one specific thing, and that is on sales panel. Usually, when people sign up for a trial, they add a few people at first during the trial. Like they let us know about it that they are adding. Like if they are marketing head, they would add somebody, a decision maker from sales, or their boss, or somebody like that, their manager or something. Um, your account manager told me that you instantly after signing up you added like a lot of like almost like half of your team or more on sales financially. So you clearly, it seems like you are the guy who already has a plan and you already knew what to do when you signed up. So can you tell me more about how your team uses sales panel?
hmm Um, yeah, I mean, I've been telling them about Sales Panel for quite some time. You guys gave me demos, sent me all that informational content and so on. So
Okay.
it was quite obvious that if I want to test Sales Panel, I have to test it with the people that actually use it in the end.
Yeah.
And what they do is we yes, it's helpful when like when there's an inbound lead and people look, okay, where do they come from? What do they do? What pages do they visit?
Okay.
But we also really like the lead score feature.
Okay.
We've defined a few rules that indicate if a lead is interesting for us or not so interesting.
Okay.
And for instance, with newsletter subscribers, we track how often do they visit our pricing page, how often do they use our public search, how do they download reports and whatever.
Okay.
So that really that data gets pushed to Pipedrive, and that really is that's how our SDRs build their calling lists. Because if the lead score is high, they prioritize the companies, and with high, like a high lead score is a good indicator for success on the platform in the end, but also for our sales team. I would definitely highlight the web tracking, but also the lead scoring model that we can use. That's really attractive. And then adding another point that um, yeah, uh, IP feature that you can see the companies that visit your website.
Yeah.
It's also like really important if you run more of an account-based approach and target uh, bigger customers, bigger companies.
Okay.
That's also gets used by some of our SDRs who focus more on bigger companies.
Okay, yeah. So yes, and of course, like we also have this feature where even if you are targeting a company, like you see a company on sales panel, you can target that specific person who visited your website, even though you do not know the identity. You can you target them on Facebook or any social media for on retargeting, or you can show them customized content on your website. So and not just companies that are identified, even those that cannot be identified in any way, they can be scored. Like let's say if somebody is there who has not signed up but he has spent like a lot of time on a website visiting important pages, reading important material, maybe he's important but you do not know the identity. So what you can
Exactly. Yeah.
do is you can reach out to them, even though not directly. You can show your content to them, like on Gmail ads, for example. You can directly reach to their inbox, or on Facebook you can show retargeting ads that are relevant to them, and you can increase the overall amount of leads you generate from the your inbound campaign. So about your Pipedrive integration, you are using it frequently, and you are using the two-way sync functionality, right?
I guess so. Yes.
So yeah, so and two-way sync, for people who don't know, for two-way sync, not only does sales panel bring all the information from sales
Yeah.
panel to Pipedrive in real time, it also syncs back the data from sales to your sales panel account, so back to your sales panel account, and you can use that segment. So for example, if a lead changes their deal stage, like if somebody has moved up the deal stage, then this data can be brought back to marketing, and marketing can then do something like a trigger campaign or something else, whatever they want to do. So What do you think about the integration overall with PipeDrive?
Yeah, I really like it. What I tell my sales team is that, I mean, they don't really have to use Sales Panel and log into Sales Panel every single day,
Okay.
because of the really good Pipedrive integration. I mean, most of the things they are interested in, they just, I mean, they use Pipedrive anyways, and Sales
Yeah.
Panel puts all the data into Pipedrive.
Yeah.
So there's yeah, that's really one of the benefits, that they don't have to yeah, use two tools all the time. But if they use Pipedrive, they get most of the Sales Panel stuff anyways, and
Yeah.
um, save lots of time there. Yeah. So
Yeah, so the stuff on sales panel end is usually good for marketing people. For sales, we bring the information to CRM, so they do not have to move out of the CRM. Um,
yeah, exactly.
okay, so what do you think about our software and services overall?
Obviously, I'm really impressed by the speed that you guys move, and that's really impressive. I think Sales Panel is the perfect tool for yeah, smaller marketing organizations that don't have like internal resources to build that up on their own.
Okay.
I think maybe at one point you have to kind of build that data warehouse on your own, but
Yeah.
that's still further away. And for smaller marketing teams, Sales Panel is the perfect tool to, yeah, understand what's happening before someone becomes a lead, when they talk to your sales team, and even outside of your CRM system. So it gives you so much more data that you can use to optimize your marketing, and to better time follow-ups, to equip your sales team with relevant information. And
Okay.
I can only recommend it to everyone. It's yeah, I would always
So that's great to hear. So we also send a newsletter roundup every month. So that's one email where we talk about all the product updates and everything. So you can definitely check that out if you want to track what progress we are making. Like we sent out, I think, like yesterday. Our newsletter for December, November, and we would continue to do this every month and send out like all the updates we are making. Okay, so before we close, I have to ask you, what would be your suggestion to startup marketers who are trying to grow, especially new companies, small companies, or SaaS companies?
good question. I think um, you have to prove your value like pretty fast. I mean, you cannot, if you start a new job in marketing at a new company, um, they want they want to get the feeling that they made a good hire in the
Yeah.
first week or two. So you need to, yeah, have these one or two quick wins in the beginning, that kind of like buy you some time to build up everything else, because obviously SEO takes time, for instance, but you cannot, like, nobody wants to wait for 2 years until you finally see a return from your work.
Okay.
You always have to balance, yeah, short term success, and yeah, long term sustainable growth, I'd say.
Yeah.
And therefore these yeah, channels like email outreach, for instance, or PR campaigns, or even something like social media, yeah, that can be really like good for you in the beginning.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So it was lovely having you, Florian, on with us, and we look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you again. I hope you have a good day.
Same here, Neil. Thanks a
Okay.
lot for taking the time. You're on a great path, and yeah, definitely really like working with Sales Panel, and proud to be one of your partners.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Have a nice day.
Take care. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye.